Looking to take your financial knowledge to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to Ask Ralph, offering accounting, technical, and financial advice. Whether you're looking to save taxes or improve your business, he's got you covered. Here's your host of Ask Ralph, Ralph Eastup Jr.
Welcome to the Ask Ralph Show. Today we're joined by Dr. Beth Renzulli, the owner of Well Primary Care in Middletown, Delaware. With this being open enrollment season for insurance, I thought it'd be great to provide an alternative primary care model called direct primary care. Dr. Renzulli, tell me about yourself and your practice, Well Primary Care.
Hi, Ralph. Thanks for inviting me to your show. I am an internist in Middletown, Delaware. I grew up in Wilmington, and I went to medical school and did my training at the University of North Carolina before returning to Delaware. I have been in a traditional insurance-based medical practice for about 13 years until about a year ago when I learned about the direct primary care model and decided it would be a great fit for me.
So why did you decide to leave the standard doctor practice and enter into this new type of direct primary care medicine?
If I had to answer with one word, I would say time. In a traditional medical practice that's insurance-based, there's a lot of pressure on primary care physicians to see a large number of patients in a short amount of time. The average visit is about 8 minutes, and I think that most patients and doctors would agree that that is an inadequate amount of time to adequately meet the needs of the patient. I began to feel that I was shortchanging my patients as well as myself in that model. So when I learned about direct primary care, I became very excited. One of the main features of this model is to take more time per patient. Instead of 8-minute visits, we schedule 30 to 60-minute visits depending on the needs of the patient.
And I'm sure your patients really appreciate that. So what was the reaction from your patients when you told them you were making the switch, and how have they reacted to the new model?
Well, another key feature of a direct primary care practice is a reduced panel size. So when we say panel, we mean how many patients we're responsible for. In a traditional practice, it may be anywhere from 2,000 to as many as 3,000 patients that one physician would be responsible for. In a direct primary care model, it's about 600 patients. So that's how we gain that time. Most of my patients, I sent a letter. I really tried to explain, the rationale behind the change. Most of my patients were very understanding and receptive to the change. A few of them were upset. They didn't quite understand it. And, I tried to have as many face-to-face conversations with my patients before I switched the practice over.
And do you think that really is the big issue, is people just don't understand the direct primary care model? I know when my wife and I were looking to do this, we had never heard of the whole term like concierge medicine or, any type of direct primary care. So what would you say is the biggest obstacle, people not understanding the idea?
Absolutely. I think anything novel can be a little bit scary to folks. And it certainly was scary to me. I was, putting everything on the line to make this change. But once people came in the door, I think they really got it. I think what patients want is, they're not asking for the moon. They want a competent physician that cares about them and has the time to help them navigate through sometimes scary and complex medical problems. Physicians want the same thing. They want time with their patients to do their job the way they're trained to do it and to do it well. And so when you can get to that point, and this model allows you to, then everyone's happy. And a few of my patients, so when I transitioned, not all of my patients came with me. And over the past year that I've been open, it's been really nice to have some of my previous patients come back to me. They didn't fully understand the model, or maybe thought it didn't suit them, so they sought out another primary care doctor. But they quickly realized what I was trying to offer. And once they came back and they came in the door and they actually saw what it was about, I think they could feel that this practice and this office belongs to them. And I am I and my staff, we are in service to them, and that's been a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and when I talk to my clients about it, I guess the chief thing I hear from them is, wow, that must be really expensive. So can you talk a little bit about your fee structure and how you handle that so people will understand that it's not cost prohibitive at all?
Definitely. One of the hardest things I grappled with was, how do I say to my patients, hey, I can't take your insurance anymore. I just can't make it work in my practice or in my life. So I thought very hard about the price structure I was going to choose. The beauty of direct primary care is that we are eliminating the insurance middleman. So if you think about car insurance, for example, we all have car insurance and we're glad to have it, but we don't expect our car insurance to cover wiper fluid or oil changes. And direct primary care doctors and primary care doctors in general, we like to think of our services as predictable and affordable. And when if you were to have your car insurance pay for your oil changes and your wiper fluid, we all know you'd pay a whole lot more for that insurance. And that's what's happened in the medical insurance market. So what direct primary care is doing is saying, look, we don't need insurance to be involved in primary care services. We can provide them at an affordable rate to our patients. And so, for example, my costs range from $20 a month to $75 a month, and they are age-based. And that's pretty typical for most direct care practices. Some are a little higher. Not too many go much lower than that. And we look for other ways to help our patients save money. So, for example, a patient might come in and they need a Z-Pak, a common antibiotic for a sinus infection. If they had a high deductible and they went to the pharmacy, they might be asked to pay $40 for that antibiotic. If they were savvy and they found a coupon online, maybe they'd get it for $16. But we do in-house dispensing of generic medications, so we give our patient that same antibiotic for $2.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, being a user of this type of direct primary care model, we have found it to be a great cost saving. So what do you see as the best components of your practice? If I could ask you, what are the best components of your practice?
Well, I think I'll go back to my original comments about time. I just think that there is no replacement for adequate time for direct contact between the patient and the physician. That might include some emails and some phone calls, but sitting down face-to-face is just invaluable, especially when things are uncertain or complicated. And direct primary care really gives you the space to do that.
And that makes perfect sense to me. So listen, I appreciate your time today. To wrap up, I just wanted you to let us know how my listeners can get in touch with you for more information.
Thanks, Ralph. My web address is wellprimarycare.com, and our office phone number is 302-449-0070. If you are outside of the Northern Delaware area, there is an excellent website called dpcfrontier.com that has a map of all the direct primary care practices across the United States. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
You've been listening to Ask Ralph, brought to you by Saggio Accounting Plus. Please subscribe to and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a rating and review. Our podcast is produced by Carolyn Peters. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Ask Ralph Media. You can also hear me each week on 1450 WILM and on 1410 WDOV in Delaware and on the iHeartRadio app. Submit your questions or ideas for future shows by sending an email to AskRalph@AskRalph.com.
The information contained in this episode of Ask Ralph is based on data available as of the date of its release. Saggio Accounting Plus and Ask Ralph Media Inc. is under no obligation to update this content if changes occur. Applying this information to your specific situation requires careful consideration of all facts and circumstances, and any information provided is not to be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney before acting on any material covered.